Archie, thank you for your first draft. My first reaction on reading the opening sentence is that we've got an incredibly difficult task here that you've set for yourself, because you're talking about the topic of space exploration to an audience that I can't really see why they would want to hear about it. So all the way through this speech, you're kind of juggling two sets of concerns. One is arguing that space exploration is a good thing and trying to counter all the arguments, people who'd say that it's not. And then you've got all the concerns of world poverty as well. And so you've basically got two topics that you seem to be trying to juggle. And it's not a terribly successful juggling act. What I would suggest to you is you choose one of these two topics that you're dealing with simultaneously and just write about that. So if you want to stick with space exploration, because you've clearly done quite a lot of research, you've got loads of stats about it, then stick with that, but change your audience. So if you think logically, who might you be talking to about space exploration? Who might you have to stand up in front of and argue that money should continue to be spent on space exploration? Well, arguably, it would be the kind of people that hold the budget for space exploration. So it would be a government or a government agency, at the very least, that you'd be addressing. So either talking to NASA, or talking to the British government, or to a European committee on space exploration. That would be a much more logical audience, because you don't have to worry too much about all their concerns. Their concerns are simply quite straightforward. Is it a good use of money, or is it not a good use of money? If you're thinking about talking to somebody like a world poverty seminar, they've got a whole myriad of concerns about developing nations all over the world, and to try and explain space exploration to them requires a really strong empathy with all of their concerns. So that's why I think it doesn't really work. So that's the most logical step forward, I think. Change your opening sentence to I'm delighted to be able to argue, and not the pros and cons. Remember, you're just arguing a point of view. So, good evening, I'm delighted to be here today to persuade you to continue to invest in the British or the Anglo-European space exploration programme, and then define who you're talking to as an audience to this European Convention on Space Exploration, say, for example. You can obviously rework a lot of your information here. You might want to take out some of the references to developing nations, but essentially you've got quite a European take on it anyway. So I think that going for a European angle is probably the best. If we look at paragraph 2, it's largely European. Got a couple of American references, but they're quite good for putting Europe in context. You just might want to take away some of these references to India, for example here, and the reference that we had up there. Right, I hope that makes sense. Have another go at reworking this with that alternative audience in mind and send it back to me as soon as it's done. Thank you.